Students, in the last discussion, we have discussed about the structure of cell, its various shape and size, about the various scientists who are involved in the discovery of cell, etc., etc. We have also explained about plasma membrane, why it is called selectively permeable, its function, etc., etc. Today we all are starting the discussion about cell wall. Plant cells have an additional protective wall outside the plasma membrane called the cell wall. It is a relatively thick, non-living and rigid envelope. It is permeable and is made up of cellulose. It may be thin or thick, multi-layered structure as in bacteria. Now, this cell wall, as we said, it is present only in the case of plant cell. That is, it is absent in the case of animal cell. Now let us discuss about the functions of this cell wall. First point, cell wall determines the shape of the plant cell. It prevents desiccation of cells. It protects the plasma membrane and internal structure of the cell. It helps in the transport of various substances in and out of the cell. Last point, it does not allow too much of water to come in. In this way, it prevents the cytoplasm from becoming too dilute. Now, these are all functions of cell wall. Now let us discuss about protoplasm. All the components of a cell, including the cell membrane, is known as protoplasm. It is a colorless, jelly-like, viscous, semi-fluid substance which can be distinguished into a centrally located nucleoplasm and the surrounding cytoplasm. We can perform a activity on this topic, protoplasm. Let us place a young leaf of Hydrilla plant on a glass slide. Add a drop of water over it. Cover it with a cover slip. Now let us observe it under the low and high magnification of a compound microscope. We will observe a circular movement of cytoplasm, also known as cyclosis. This movement of cytoplasm is in the clockwise direction. Now, let us say something about cytoplasm. The protoplasm which surrounds the nucleus is called cytoplasm. It is formed of proteins, nucleic acid, carbohydrates, lipids, and certain inorganic substances. Many small organelles are found inside the cytoplasm. These are known as cytoplasmic organelles. These organelles are the sites for various metabolic functions of the cell. Each organelle is membrane bound. Some of these organelles are visible only under an electron microscope. The important cytoplasmic organelles are now discussed one after another. Under that discussion, let us first explain endoplasmic reticulum. In short, we write capital ER. E stands for endoplasmic, R stands for reticulum. Now, this endoplasmic reticulum is a network of tube-like structure running through the cytoplasm. Some parts are connected to the nuclear membrane, while others are connected to the cell membrane. Endoplasmic reticulum is of two types: rough endoplasmic reticulum and smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Accordingly, we write rRNA and sRNA, or R rough in bracket endoplasmic reticulum and in bracket S endoplasmic reticulum. Its ribosomes are attached to it. If ribosomes are attached to it, the reticulum is rough, otherwise it is smooth. Now, let us discuss about the various functions of endoplasmic reticulum. First point, endoplasmic reticulum increases the surface area of the cytoplasm for various metabolic activities of the cell. It gives internal support to the colloidal matrix. It is associated with the synthesis, storage, and transport of metabolic products. It helps in the formation of the cell plate and nuclear membrane during cell division. Next, rough endoplasmic reticulum is associated with the synthesis of protein. On the other hand, smooth endoplasmic reticulum secretes lipids which, along with protein, constitute cell membrane by a process called membrane biogenesis. Last point, SER, smooth endoplasmic reticulum, plays a crucial role in detoxifying many poisons and drugs. So, students, these are all about endoplasmic reticulum. Now, we are going into the next topic, next discussion, ribosomes. Ribosomes are extremely small round bodies found either in the free state in the cytoplasm or attached to the surface of the ER. They are composed of ribonucleoprotein, or rather we say ribonucleic acid and protein. The main function of ribosome is to act as a platform or workplace for the synthesis of protein. Dear students, you already know right from class 6 that protein is the building material of our body, and so far as that building material is concerned, ribosome is mainly responsible to give rise to these building materials, which we also say as protein. Next one, which we will discuss, is mitochondria. Mitochondria are small rod-shaped organelles found in large number. Each mitochondrion is bounded by two membranes, outer and inner. The outer membrane is smooth and the inner membrane is pushed inward at intervals, forming crests, or also called cristae. The cristae lie in a ground substance called matrix. Mitochondria possess enzymes necessary for the oxidation of carbohydrates. This process releases energy in the form of ATP. This is why mitochondria are known as the powerhouse of the cell. This question comes very often, students, that which organelle is known as the powerhouse of the cell and why. So, I think you understood why mitochondria is called the powerhouse of the cell. Now, this mitochondria have its own DNA and ribosomes. They can synthesize their own protein, and thus they are semi-autonomous organelles. They are also known as semi-autonomous organelles. So then what will be the function then? Let us say once more of mitochondria. Mitochondria provide energy for all the vital activities of the living cells. So this is about mitochondria. Next comes Golgi body. Golgi body was first discovered by Camillo Golgi. Golgi bodies or Golgi complex, which we say, are formed by stacks of flattened membranes or flattened sac called cisternae. There are some conspicuous vacuoles and clusters of very small vesicles near the cisternae. Golgi bodies are usually called dichotosomes in plants. Now, let us then discuss about the functions of Golgi bodies. So far as function is concerned, the first point is that Golgi body store, modify, package and condense the proteins synthesized in the ribosomes. They also form the cell plate during cell division. They set aside digestive enzymes in the tiny membranes bound vesicle, which becomes lysosomes later on. They add sugars to some proteins and synthesize some polysaccharides for the cell membranes. So, students, these are the 4 functions of Golgi body. You can easily understand that Golgi body is performing some miscellaneous work, not one specific single work. So, the next part which we are supposed to start is plastid. Try to hear the sound, understand the word. I am telling plastid, Plastid's. I am not telling plastic, I am not telling TIC, PLASTIC, I am not telling, I am telling PLASTID, plastid. This plastid is present only in the plant cell. It is absent in the animal cell. So, this is also one of the difference between plant cell and animal cell. This difference of plant cell and animal cells we'll discuss more or less at the end of this very chapter, but at this very moment take it granted and keep it in your mind that plastid is also one point which differentiates a plant cell from an animal cell. So now let us start plastid. Plastids are double membraned organelles which are found only in plant cells. They are usually spherical or in some case discoidal in shape, and their average size is between 4 to 6 micron. A plastid shows 2 distinct regions, grana and stroma. Grana are stacks of membrane-bound, flattened, discoid sacs containing chlorophyll molecules. These molecules are responsible for the production of food by the process of photosynthesis. They are therefore called the kitchen of the cell. So students, this question is also important. This question also comes very often. Which part of the cell is called kitchen of the cell and why? So I think you can understand why this part of the cell is called kitchen of the cell. The homogeneous matrix in which grana are embedded is known as stroma. Like mitochondria, plastids also contain their own DNA and ribosomes. Now, plastids consist of mainly 3 types of components. What are they? They are leucoplast, chloroplast and chromoplast. Dear students, we have said about the types of plastids today. In the next part, we will start discussing about the functions of this leucoplast, chloroplast and chromoplast. This much is enough today. In the next part, we'll continue our discussion.